Aiming in pool is uniquely difficult. In almost every other major sport, the target is well defined. In golf, you aim for the flag, basketball, the rim, darts, a point on the board. But in pool, what you're aiming at isn't so clearly defined. You're not aiming at the pocket, you're not aiming at the object ball, you're also not even aiming at the contact point on the object ball. You're aiming at an imaginary point in empty space, trying to predict the collision of two balls that'll send the other ball into the hole. So how do pros and advanced players make it look so easy? In this video, I'll show you two of the most beginner-friendly aiming systems, why they still feel hard and inconsistent in real games. Finally, we'll talk about how to graduate to what pros do, aiming automatically, by feel, with no systems at all. Let's start with the ghost ball method. Simple and mathematically correct. The concept is simple. Imagine a second cue ball, a ghost ball, frozen directly behind your object ball, lined up perfectly with the center of the pocket. The center of this ghost ball represents the exact spot you need to aim at, no matter where you are on the table. It's the mathematically correct answer. I can shoot from anywhere on the table, and all I have to do is aim the center of my cue ball at the center of the ghost ball, and the object ball goes in. It seems simple, right? But in a real game, that ball isn't there. Instead of aiming at a target, you're aiming at a ghost. Again, an imaginary spot in open space. Is the center point here, or a few millimeters to the left, or maybe even to the right? You know how to aim theoretically, but practically, it isn't as easy as advertised. Another popular system that somewhat answers this problem is the fractional ball aiming system. Instead of trying to picture an invisible ghost ball in space, fractional aiming gives you something you can actually see to aim at. Here's the idea. On most shots, you're not hitting the object ball full, you're cutting it, meaning the cue ball will overlap with the object ball by a certain amount. So fractional aiming turns where is the ghost ball into a simpler question. How much of the object ball does the cue ball need to hit and cover from the shooter's perspective? The common fractions that beginners start with in this system are a full ball hit, which is just a straight in shot, 3/4 and quarter ball hit, which are 15 and 49 degree cuts, and a half ball hit, which is a 30-degree cut. What's great about this system is that it gives you a very strong visual target to aim for, especially on the 30-degree cuts. You can just aim exactly at the center of the edge of the ball. If you're shooting somewhere in between, you know you need to shoot somewhere in between those 2 points. But fractional aiming has the same problem the ghost ball does, just in a different form. Real shots are rarely a perfect half ball or quarter ball hit. You'll almost always be somewhere in between those two categories. And you'll probably be made fun of if you try to break out a protractor in the middle of a match. But what's interesting about these two systems is that they are essentially the same. Ghost ball and fractional aiming aren't two different answers, they're two different interpretations of the same geometry. Ghost ball tells you where the cue ball needs to be at impact with the object ball, and fractional aiming gives you a visual overlap picture of what that should look like from the shooter's perspective. And that's why I built the aiming calculator. It combines both systems into one visual. It automatically places the ghost ball and generates that overlap visual. To use it, place the object ball, place the cue ball, select the pocket, and then your job is simple. Stand behind the shot line and recreate the overlap visual with your aim. But if you've been paying attention, you'll notice I've been using this term mathematically accurate, and that's because these aiming systems are really just a starting point. Real pool has friction, which causes something called cut-induced throw. This is an effect where the cue ball kind of grabs onto the object ball, pulling it a bit off the true cut line. And here's the annoying part. Throw changes depending on cut angle, speed, and spin. So yes, ghost ball and fractional aiming can be mathematically correct, but you can still miss the ball by a bit because the table is just adding variables. But the whole picture really starts to change once you add left and right spin. With side spin, you now have deflection, swerve, and spin-induced throw, which can counteract or intensify cut-induced throw. And all of that changes with speed, tip offset, and table conditions. And this is why feel is the real end goal. And if you follow professional pool, you've even seen how sensitive these conditions can be. There was a major controversy after the 2025 World Pool Championship called Waxgate, where players alleged other players were waxing the cue ball to change how the cue ball slid and grabbed at the table. And WPA publicly clarified that waxing balls during a match is now considered cheating. So how do you go about actually building that feel? The only real answer is repetition. It comes down to shot routine. If you watch the top professionals, you'll notice a pattern. Let's take a look at Fedor Gorst. Here, Fedor looks down the pocket line, stays focused on the object ball as he moves back behind the cue ball, and locks in behind the cue ball on the shot line, and then he gets straight down. Here's another example on the very next shot that he shoots. After about 30 seconds of deliberation on how to get position on the 4, the final thing he does is go to look down the pocket line, move back to lock in behind the shot line, and then get straight down. Once he's down, you'll notice that there's no micro adjustments. There's no wiggling. All of the aiming was done before he ever got down. This is a pattern that you'll see by a lot of top pros, and it's something I adopted into my game last year. The result, my pocketing on difficult shots increased significantly. I can't quite explain it because it's subconscious, but a good way to think about it is that in the moments leading up to locking in on the shot line, I'm providing my brain with all the information it needs to pull from my previous experiences and really feel the shot. By having already decided on speed and spin, I know how the cue ball should come off the cue and react with the object ball. Meanwhile, the visual information from looking down the pocket line and then watching as I rotate back behind the shot line seems to give my subconscious the cut angle. Here's the protocol that I use that you can start using today. First, analyze and decide. You need to be fully committed to the shot. Decide on speed, spin, and desired final cue ball locations because any changes in these are going to require small adjustments in your aim. Then, in step 2, go ahead and finish final preps. For me, this is chalking my cue and then setting the chalk down. Once I set the chalk down, it's like a mental switch for me from I'm in analysis mode to now I'm in execution. Once I'm in execution, it's all about visualization and giving my brain all of the information it needs to get the feel for the shot. I look down the shot line, then I rotate behind the pocket line to see the exact line that I want the object ball to go down. Then, remaining focused on the object ball, I rotate back behind the shot line. Once I feel locked in behind the shot line, I get straight down, keep my vision center directly over the shot line, and stay focused on the object ball the entire time. After getting down, I make no adjustments. Even when I use side spin, there's no adjustment system that I'm using once I get down, and you won't see top pros doing that either. All of it's done while standing up over the shot line, visualizing the shot. If things ever feel off after I get down, I stand back up and start over. And if you enjoyed this video, hide the like button's chalk and the ball return, and I'll see you in the next video.